Good morning, YouTube. Today we will be taking a look at how to change the engine oil and filter on a VTX 1800 Honda. It is a very easy process. What you need to do is have the bike running to its operating temperature and then let it cool down for a bit and then remove the drain plugs. It has got two 17mm drain plugs and then an oil filter. So if you come over to the right side of the motorcycle, which I am on right now, go underneath here. I'll show you the location. Right back at there you can see the oil filter, and keep coming like so. The front drain plug is here where my finger is pointed. It is pointed toward the front, and there's one more here where the finger is pointed. There it is pointed below, right, not in the front. So let's get the thing started up. I'll probably let it run for around 5 maybe 10 minutes and then let it cool down for a minute or two before removing these drain plugs and the filter. Crank it up now, let it run for a few minutes. There. Alright, the motorcycle has been running for around 7-8 minutes now. I've switched it off and I'll let it cool down for a minute or so before attempting to remove the drain plugs and the filter, because it's going to be very hot. While it happens, I will just show you the filter that I'm using. It's a Fram filter. Picked it up at the local Canadian Tire. They helped me match it up with the model of the motorcycle. And for the oil, it's a 10W40 oil, and it's supposed to be for wet clutches, so you can check your specification in the manual. This one is having a JASO MA specification on it, which is good for wet clutches. Okay, I will get to loosening the first drain plug now. This is the one that is pointed below. I'd like to do it first because then most of the oil, I'm hoping it comes out of that first hole, and then we can shoot at the one that is at the front.
Oh no, it's raining. Oh no, it's raining. Look at that.
Okay, there you go. Starting to flow out. We'll let it sit for some time before we go to the hole at the front. While we are at it, this oil is still coming out from the first hole. I'm going to loosen up the oil filter. Like so, and you can see a second spout just come out from the rear. Quick note before installing the filter: do ensure when you remove the older filter it gets its O-ring or the rubber ring out with it, otherwise it's gonna be sticking on to where it belongs, and where it does not belong, and it can cause trouble. So make sure that is off. If you wanted to pre-fill this filter with oil, you can do so, and then do not forget to apply oil on the outer seal or the rubber seal here before you put the filter back on. Also a good time to change the crush washers on your drain plugs. For the front drain plug, I'm going to be using a second drain pan just to be sure. I probably could have gotten away with using just one spun across the two, one at the front and one at the back, but for safety's sake I'm using a second drain pan. I'm going to be opening up the drain plug here. There you go. I'm going to let that sit for some time while it drains out. One thing I do with my motorcycles, all of them are having a dry sump on them, or a semi-dry sump, is to tilt over the motorcycle to the left a little bit and to the right while the oil is flowing out, because in these kind of motorcycles the oil has a tendency to sit in a few different places because of the sump, and doing that will ensure most of the oil does come out when you're changing it. Right, time to put the plugs back in. I'll start with the one at the front. I'm going to hand tighten these. And then use a 17mm socket on a wrench to make them snug. Honestly, I don't know the torque spec on these, but you would be better off. That is the one at the front. And the one at the back. So the one at the back is a little concealed, not as protruding as some of the other motorcycles I've worked on. This hand tightened. I'm going to use a socket and a wrench to make these snug tight, and then we'll put the filter on. Right, time to install the new filter in. It's located a bit inside. There. Do note the manual has the torque specification on the filter tightening, so make sure you check it. I am in the habit of hand tightening it. Once it gets a bit snug, I give it a quarter turn and call it a day, but you guys may be better off with having the torque spec on it, so give it a read in the manual. That is done. I was gonna use the long funnel, but I had to switch over to the shorter one because it was getting a bit too long, and the mouth of the funnel was a bit too big for the screw threads in the fill zone. Now here I'm going to be dropping oil slowly into it, because this one I'm a little afraid it might spill out. Alright, so I have filled in close to a little over 3.4 liters of oil. Now the only thing that needs to be done now is crank the motorcycle up, run it for a few minutes, let it cool down, and then measure using the dipstick. So let's get at it. Do note the bike has to be standing upright when you do the measurement of the oil. So I've used these two 2x6 wood pieces to stand the bike upright. I have a jack for the motorcycle, but I'm feeling a bit too lazy today, so I'll just do with the wood pieces. Okay, so I removed the dipstick, I wiped it clean, and now I'm going to insert it like so. You do not have to screw it in, hey? So put it like that while the bike is still upright, and take a look at it. So this one seems to be just a bit above the lower mark, so I'm probably going to add a little more oil to it so that it sits in between the two markers. And that's it, guys. That's all you need to do. It's a very easy and simple process.